Hey everybody, my name is Christy and I am a part-time Poshmark reseller selling under the closet Betty Chic 1116. So that is Betty, Betty Chic 1116. And you can also find me on Instagram at Betty Chic Boutique. And I thought that I would start putting some of the things that I learned at Posh Fest 2019 immediately into action. So I'm sitting here in my hotel room in Phoenix. The conference just ended a couple of hours ago, and I'm still feeling so great and so inspired about everything that I learned that I wanted to just share a couple of things that I've already, like I said, put into action, and I'm already I've got the gears turning in my head that I thought would be useful for everybody else too. So there was a session today that was all about taking or learning data from your Poshmark sales report. So if you aren't familiar with how to access your Poshmark sales report, if you go in under your sales, there's the option to download your Poshmark sales report, have that sent to your email. You get a link that you click on and it's a downloadable Excel file. So the first thing I'm going to say is I am not an expert in Excel. But there's a ton of really great information available in the sales report right now. There's some really great things that are coming based on what I heard this morning at Posh Fest from the hackathon. But nonetheless, I really think that upping your game in terms of what you want to do with Poshmark is really dependent on having data to be able to understand, your sourcing strategy, your pricing strategy, and what you want to start and stop selling perhaps. And you're able to find all of that information in your Poshmark sales report pretty easily, even without being an expert in Excel. So once you download that report, and you can choose to look at a certain custom time, you can look at all time, or you can look simply at across the last year. So this current year that we're in, 2019, how your sales have been. So I have really only been active as a part-time reseller on Poshmark for about a year. So September of 2018 is when I really started taking this seriously as being a really beneficial side hustle for me and being able to, put some extra dollars in my bank account. And it was kind of a willy-nilly-nigh kind of thing. Like I went to Goodwill, I just started buying stuff. I wasn't, really clear on, what my audience would like or what would sell for me. And so that's where having the Poshmark sales report becomes really handy. And I'm kind of embarrassed to say that I didn't really look closely at that until July of this past year. So I looked at it for the first time, about 2.5 months ago and really started to analyze this year in 2019, what brands were selling really well for me, how much money I'd made, what my average cost of sale was, so that type of information was really critical. And I made a couple of changes in my sourcing based on that information. So again, I probably should have been looking at that a little bit closer, a little bit more regularly, but I would say that's what really came to the forefront of that session that I looked at or that I attended today, was that they were telling me, all of the different things that I can do with the information that's in that sales report. But the basics, I think, that can help me day to day in my Posh business and growing my Posh business are right there and really easy. It takes like 10 minutes to figure out. So once I downloaded that report, again, for the current year, I did that this afternoon. And I gathered some, pretty critical information right away. So the first thing I did is I sorted it by brand. And I took a look at, what have I sold the most of on Poshmark in 2019. So maybe a couple surprises, maybe not. My top 5 brands. So I've got Free People. My second one is LuLaRoe, which, okay, I can hear some growling and hissing in folks who are watching this right now. I found a ton of LuLaRoe new with tags, items. It was like back in February. I don't know that I would pick it up again, but nonetheless, it is performing pretty well for me, or at least has over across the whole year. The third would be Banana Republic. The fourth was Torrid. And then there's a tie between 5 and 6. It was J. Crew and Ann Taylor. So pretty bread and butter kinds of brands, which actually, as I think about it, don't really surprise me because those are things that I can source and find really easily in, the bins, the Goodwills, and the different consignment stores that I go to. So I'm able to pick those things up at a pretty reasonable cost of goods type of price. So I have, a fair amount of that in my closet. So that was really helpful to know. But then I went back and I looked at my data from July, and I looked at what had changed in terms of the number of items that sold. So this is one of the things about being able to do a comparison, from one report to another. So even though Free People continues to be what was my bestseller across the entire year, I actually only sold 2 more items from July until now. So I was kind of like, LuLaRoe. Again, it's been a strong seller across, when you look at across the whole year, but I've only added 1 additional piece that I've sold since then. So, what I was starting to look at is like, okay, so I can see across the whole year, but what's really the things that have been kind of popping for me? And that is actually Torrid. So that's been doing really well for me, and hence consistently across the entire year, it's been going up. I've actually sold 5 of those pieces since I actually looked at this the last time. So I'm going to continue to chase Torrid for sure. It's something that's really good for me. And then, J. Crew and Banana Republic also had continued to, sell additional ones of those items. So those brands I'm going to continue to look for probably first before anything else. So then the next thing that I looked at my sales this year as a whole. So I took that number and I divided it by the number of items I've sold. So I've sold 476 items on Poshmark so far this year, which is fantastic. I'm really excited about that and really thrilled. I didn't hit 500 sales all of that long ago. So, again, that was from 2019 or 2018 to now, but so far just this year, 476 items sold. And my average sale right now is $12.32. And that's not a lot, but at the same time, being able to go back and compare that to what it was in July, and that's been an increase of $1.44 since last time I looked at it. And so that tells me something else. I changed my sourcing strategy after I looked at my sales report in July. I started to source some higher end things. I started adding more Kate Spade and more Tory Burch in particular, more Lily to my closet, and I'm starting to see a bit of an increase in those particular brands. So it's bringing my overall cost or my overall sale price up, and I'm going to continue to look at sourcing slightly higher end brands so I can continue to bring that average sale up. I would love to have that more around $20. So that is one of my goals. Now, after I did that, then the next thing that I did was just sort by the category. So I have my entire sales report over those 476 items that I have sold over the past, since in 2019 so far. And then I looked at what are the percentage of categories that are selling well for me. And because I've branched into a lot of different things, I have almost every market available in my closet. I haven't branched into home goods, quite honestly. That just seems like probably just too much for me right now. And I focus almost exclusively on women's clothes as well as shoes. So looking at that, 18% of my sales across 2019 have been tops. And then the second most was dresses, that was 16%. And then jeans were 13%. Shoes were 10% and sweaters were 9%. So if I took just those categories alone, that equals almost 67% of my sales across 2019. So thinking of going into, as we're in Q4 now, I'm going to focus my energy and my strategies on sourcing more tops, dresses, jeans, shoes, and sweaters. And then leaving kind of the jackets and coats, which I've sold a few, pants, skirts, those types of things. Even tried to try some swimwear and things like that. I'm going to probably kind of leave that stuff, including, men's categories, kids, things like that. I'm going to leave those for now. And because I want to get my average sale up, I'm going to focus on those things that I know are selling well for me. So just to do a quick recap of the information that I was able to pull from my sales report in just like 10 minutes this afternoon, just by doing sort, nothing fancy in Excel with that spreadsheet. I was able to identify the top brands that are selling for me. So Torrid, J. Crew, and Banana Republic are going to continue to be a focus of mine, as well as continuing to add slightly higher end brands like Kate Spade and Tory Burch to my closet. I am going to continue to focus on tops, dresses, jeans, shoes, and sweaters. And thank goodness it's sweater season for many of us out in there in the country. I'm based in Minnesota, so oh yeah, we're gonna love our sweaters here soon. So hopefully this is helpful for you to just think about how you can use your sales report in a very quick and easy manner to be able to think about your sourcing strategy as well as your pricing strategy. And I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear some comments in the comment section. I'll also include, of course, a link to my closet, a link to my Instagram, because I've been posting a bunch of fun stuff from Posh Fest. It's been a really great experience. I've learned a lot, and I will share more with you as I continue to be, more productive, because I'm setting, big goals for 2020 in regards to what I'm going to do with Poshmark. So I hope this was helpful. Would love to hear from you. Again, my name is Christy. My Poshmark closet is Betty Chic 1116, and my Instagram is Betty Chic Boutique. I hope you all have a fantastic night, and see you soon.